Hi everyone, it's Jen from Easy Healthy Tasty here. We almost thought we were going to have a major technical disaster with this Facebook Live and that didn't happen, so yay. I've washed my hands, they're nice and clean, that's super important at the moment. But I'm halfway through preparing my family's dinner tonight, which is cheesy stuffed potatoes. It's a very easy recipe. And it's one of those things that you can basically use whatever you have scrounged around in your fridge to make a pretty decent meal that most people enjoy. Like there's a high strike rate within my family. Most people dig this recipe. So I'll tell you where I'm up to. I have cooked a whole lot of potatoes. I've cooked 10 potatoes. And I'm halfway through, or more than halfway through, hollowing them out like that. I boiled these potatoes whole, but that's because I was doing 10. If I was doing just this meal for myself or for maybe just 2 people, I would microwave these potatoes because it's super, super simple. To microwave the potatoes, you literally put the potato on the plate in the microwave, put it on high for 3 minutes. When it pings, see if it's soft. It won't be after 3 minutes, but then you turn it over, put it in for another 3 minutes. If it's soft after 6 minutes, that's good. But if it's not, put it in turn it over another 3 minutes, turn it over another 3 minutes until it's soft, basically. Different sizes and types of potatoes take longer or shorter amounts of time, so there's no prescription for it. It's literally 3-minute bursts until you get that soft texture that you want in a potato that you're gonna eat. Now, you want it so soft that you don't need a sharp knife like this to cook it. You need a butter knife. And what you want to do is you want to cut down into the potato, or leave them to cool obviously, or else you'll burn your fingers. But you cut down into the potato, and there's really not a lot of resistance anymore, because it's such a soft and well cooked potato. You scoop out that, and then you just get your spoon and scoop out a little bit more so that you've got a nice hollow in your potato. So I've done my 10 potatoes just there. Shout out to my husband Paul, who's on the camera tonight. Thank you. So then what you end up with is a whole lot of the flesh of the potato that you have hollowed out of your potatoes and your hollowed out potatoes. I should say that this is the perfect size for what we're about to do. You can use any size of potato really and any shape, but this is the perfect one. It's nice, sits nice and flat, and it's a good size. I thought that I would do 2 different types of potato tonight. I'm going to do one with bacon, and I'm going to do a vegetarian one. And it's literally, I am using up stuff that is the odds and ends that are in my fridge. So normally, if I were just doing one type for the family, I'd just add everything into this bowl that my mashed potato is in. But because I'm doing 2 different types, I'll just have that, put half of that in another bowl. Now you can see that I haven't bothered removing the potato skins or anything because I can't be bothered. But you know, if you're a bit more picky than me, go right ahead, remove the potato skins. So we're going to do one that is, one type that is bacon and corn and a little bit of silver beet. And we're going to do another one that is cheese and silver beet, feta cheese and silver beet. There's no rules to what you choose to mash up and stuff into your potato. In fact, I considered doing this, but then in the end I decided not to. This is a little bit of the mince mix that we have left over from dinner last night. We had that wrapped up in, like tacos. And I could very much just stuff this into the potatoes, mix it through a bit of the potato and stuff it in. But I decided not to do to do that. I'm kind of wishing I actually cooked a few more potatoes, because this is a great lunch for being at home during the day. And of course we all are at home all day, every day these days, working and learning from home. So perhaps I should have done a few more, but it's too late now. They're all cooked and I don't want to waste any more time. So the first one I'll do is bacon, corn and chive. And I prepared earlier some bacon. I just had a few rashers left over from another dish that I cooked. And just without trying, they're all in a non-stick frying pan, but just trying not to incorporate all the grease that's in there. This is probably not 4 rashers, but 4 short cuts of bacon, I'd say. And mix that through the potatoes that I have there. And then I've got some corn. Now this, it looks like, you know, I'm so fancy that I've got everything laid out in front of me. But apart from doing the chopping before we began, this is half a corn, half a large tin of corn, because I could only find a large one in the shops, and I ended up keeping half of it in my fridge. So I thought I'd stuff my potatoes with that. So that's probably a little bit too much actually, so I'll just leave that to the side and do something else with it later. And then I've probably got a teaspoon of chives, just because that's got a really lovely oniony flavour to it. And I want a little bit of silver beet. So, I mean, you could use any green leaf. And in fact, normally I would be using peas to stuff these potatoes, and maybe even a frozen peas and corn mix from the freezer, but I couldn't get a hold of that this week. So this is just like pretty well chopped up silver beet leaf. If you can see, it's you know, I sort of attacked that with a knife a little bit. So I'm putting that in. I think the only thing, when you're thinking about what you're going to stuff your potatoes with, the only thing you need to think about is, do I have something green? It's always good to have something green. As a default rule, eat green. And do I have something that's sort of got an element of saltiness to it? And in this mix, you've got corn and, you've got the bacon that adds the saltiness, and you've got the corn that adds a bit of texture, and you've got the green from the silver beet. And this one's a little bit simpler. So this, we're going to put a little bit more silver beet in this one because we don't have the other things. We're going to put a little bit of parsley because that'll just lift it up a little bit. And this is the scrapings out of the bottom of this marinated feta dish that I have. I'll just drain off some of that oil because really we don't need that, so I can get to the goodness underneath. We've got some herbs that are in it. We don't need that in our potatoes. But we're using the feta instead of the bacon because it has that salt and it has that mouthfeel that we want, especially because it's been marinating in oil. It's the right flavour, I suppose, that will complement the spinach really well, and it will also just has the salt to season the dish. Now the other thing you could use is olives, or you could use sun-dried tomatoes, like those strips that you can buy so you don't need to chop at all. The olives have that nice salt and that nice punchy flavour, and in fact doing this with sun-dried tomatoes and olives is a really nice Mediterranean dish. You could put some herbs and some basil in that too, some parsley if you've got it in the garden. And so now I'm just mixing this all through. Now I haven't cooked the spinach beforehand. I cooked the bacon, but I didn't cook the spinach beforehand. This dish will go in the oven, so that's why I don't need to cook this the silver beet. Now you might see, I don't know if you can see, this one looks quite well bound, I suppose, together. That one is sticking together relatively well. But this one, not so much. So I'm just going to chuck a little bit of yogurt into that, and that'll make it go a bit more sticky. And yes, the yogurt is laid out in a bowl, which makes it look super posh, but I literally grabbed it out of my fridge. It was on the dinner table last night.
That's Greek yogurt.
Full disclosure. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's Greek yogurt. Yeah, so you don't want to use a flavoured yogurt or anything, not a vanilla or anything. That's plain natural yogurt. I'm going to put a little bit of pepper. Hang on, can I find my pepper grinder? Yes, I'm going to put a little bit of pepper just to balance the flavour in each of these. And then I'm going to get stuck into stuffing the potatoes. But first I'm going to wash my hands, because it's all about washing your hands at the moment. How many times a day do you do this? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Jen. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
You're doing it too fast.
No, it's 20 seconds. How fast do you have to? Goodness. 20 seconds.
If you sang happy birthday to me like that, I would be a bit, feel like you're not really giving it your all.
At least I'm not singing.
Sing it slower
and
with
me. You look like
meaning.
a monkey and you smell like one too, which is what my children sing when they do it. We've got a dog. If you can hear the thumping, the dog is trying to get into the... He can smell the bacon and he's like, oh, I've got to get in here. Okay, so we're doing half and half. The reason I washed my hands is because I'm going to use my hands to do this. You can be all really nice and do it with a spoon, but quite frankly, it takes much longer. And, not that I've got anywhere to go or anything. But what you do, so your potato mix, you stuff it back into the potato. I've got to do half of the potatoes that I have here. And it doesn't matter if it's sort of built up on top. I mean, you don't want any to go to waste, so you're trying to get it all into your potatoes that you have, right? This is real comfort food too, I think. May as well enjoy yummy food if we have to be stuck in isolation. Kind of makes us feel a bit better. And this is relatively low processed food, which is good for you. So yeah, done half. Do my other half now. These are my corn and bacon ones. I think I've got a little bit more of this mix, so I'll just probably have done it a bit of the wrong way round in many ways. I should have done those ones first, but anyway, that's all right. They were the bigger potatoes. That's all right. These ones would just be like loaded potatoes. Could you do this with sweet potatoes? I hear some people asking, because potatoes don't agree with everyone, and some people need lower carb options. I think yes, you could, but you would probably need to think about how you cooked the sweet potato before you scooped out the flesh. They would bake in the same way, and you could get the flesh out, but I think what you were going to do if you were going to do a sweet potato is what you would do is part bake it in the oven for maybe about 15-20 minutes, and then you would cut a slice down the middle and open it up a little bit, and then you would stuff beans or any other ingredients, corn and stuff that you had inside the sweet potato. So that could be a little hack if that's what you needed. The only thing that we need to do now is the cheese in the cheesy stuffed potatoes. So this is just pizza cheese. I don't know, there are a few types of cheeses apparently, but this one's just, your bog standard grated mozzarella, but it doesn't matter. Any type of cheese that you have or you can grate, and you just sprinkle that over the top. I'm trying to make sure that it stays on the potatoes rather than falling too much down onto the tray, because it'll be wasted if it falls down onto the tray. So, don't want them to, I want to salvage the cheese, right? We don't want to waste stuff, especially in this time when we don't want to go to the shops very often. Yeah, so just put that cheese on top. This is a real nice melty cheese, so it's going to be very, you know, it's going to melt really well and go a little bit brown on top, and then have that kind of gooey pull after you've baked it. I should say, so this is a good cheese to bake. If you were super hungry and you wanted to eat right now, you do need to bake it a little bit in order to just bake the spinach that's in there and to have it all come together. But if you were super hungry, you could just put the pre-baked, the pre-cooked sort of stuff in there. Maybe some chives, the bacon that's already cooked, maybe just do it with ham. And you could eat it straight away, but it's heaps better if you melt cheese on top. Because, let's face it, most things are. So I'm going to just put this in the oven. My oven is probably a little bit too hot. I'll just turn it down. It's around about 170, and I'm going to cook this literally until the cheese is melted. So that's, the potatoes are already soft. I'm not trying to cook the potatoes. I'm just trying to bring it all together and cook the silver beet just a little bit. After we've served this up to the family, I'll take a photo and we'll put this video on YouTube. No, I hope everyone's doing okay in this super strange time that we're living through. I hope that you are staying socially distant from people, but physically distant, I should say, but socially connected. I hope you can enjoy this meal at home. It's a really good one to do if you're just one person. Remember, you can microwave that potato, just stuff it with the random stuff that you've got in your fridge and bake it with some cheese on top. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.